Do you feel like giving up on your manifestation? I'm going to give you some tips of why this might be happening and how to, in fact, still succeed when it feels like you're ready to give up. So if you want something really, really badly, and you have been trying your best to follow the instructions found on videos like this, and yet you have this deep sense of, should there be a certain time when I give up on this? Am I wasting my time? Is this ever going to happen? I have found in instances like this, you have been taking a path that is not actually the route to the manifestation. You've been taking a path that's actually a lot more complicated than it needs to be. Because in all of my manifestations, I've only felt like I was ready to give up when I actually was doing it wrong. And when I say that, I don't want you to suddenly blame yourself and say, well, it's my fault. This hasn't happened yet. But I think that there's just a lot of conflicting information about manifestation. And when you do it properly, it never feels like you want to give up because you have detached in such a strong and powerful way that the desire feels like part of you instead of something you are trying to seek. If it feels like you should potentially give up, that means you've been seeking for it in a way that isn't you connecting with the desire. That's more of you trying for it and trying to convince yourself of it, almost like wishful thinking. And usually this comes from doing too many techniques, doing too many affirmations, and getting caught up on that aspect of manifesting. That aspect of manifesting does have its importance. I don't want to dismiss it completely. But the problem is it's gotten so blown out of proportion where people then think that this is manifesting. Visualizing is manifesting. Saying affirmations all the time is manifesting. So that feels like a total and complete ton of work that feels so exhausting and so draining. And especially when you put your heart entirely in that, and then you see no results. In fact, you see contrast that seems like the complete opposite. So of course, in an instance like that, who wouldn't want to give up? Like, I would want to give up if that's what I was doing. I would want to throw in the towel and be like, can I stop this at some point? Because this isn't working and it's causing me to spend a lot of time, a lot of effort, and I'm literally putting my best effort forth, but nothing is happening. And I've been there. I've tried that long time ago, and it didn't happen. And I did give up. And I see now, in hindsight, why I was taking such a path of struggle when the way to the desire was so much easier. The way to your desire and the way of manifesting where you'll never feel like you want to give up is the way in which you become the result. You embrace it, you see it as your identity in such a way that it feels like who you are, and you would never want to give up because it feels so easy. It feels so not required that you have that physical result that there's nothing to give up because nothing is hard about that. It's so easy. The way you do this is through practicing mindfulness. And I know this sounds almost too simple to work, but the way to deliberate manifestation is so much easier than you've been making it out to be. If you've been asking yourself the question, should I give up? Is there a time to give up? This means you haven't been taking this path. Mindfulness means you simply are aware of your thought processes, what you focus on, and you just have an understanding of the way your mind thinks, what it thinks about, what it sort of gravitates towards. Do you have an understanding of this? And this is why I tend to trash things like affirmations, and even persistent visualization isn't good. Or I never really talk about making vision boards or things like this because they don't embody the totality. They're things you do temporarily. They're not examining the way your mind thinks and what it thinks about and your belief systems, but practicing mindfulness and just calmly listening, taking note, getting out a notepad and being like, this is what I tend to want to think about. And then trying to understand where that came from and how we can best heal those feelings of lack, because it's a process of healing. Deliberate manifesting is healing those things within you. It's about healing the lack beliefs. And it's not really about implementing new beliefs, because you are a creative being. You are a being of light and love and abundance. So that is who you are. The other stuff is the lie. If we heal the lie, then all that is left is that beautiful, abundant truth. So it's already there. It's not something you have to affirm, because it already is you. All you need to do is heal the lie. Heal the lie that you can't have love, that you can't have money, that you can't have your perfect body or health. Heal the lie. When you learned about manifesting, you may have taken the belief that it was your negative thoughts that was keeping you or blocking you or delaying you. And the funny thing is, I used to think this too. And you may even find old videos of mine that talk about banishing negative thoughts. You won't find that in any new videos. But I naively felt that it was the negative thoughts standing in my way when it wasn't. It was actually understanding my belief systems, and I was actually doing those things without realizing I was doing them when I was sort of trying to keep out the negativity. But for you, you may not be doing this automatically. And if you felt like giving up, you're probably not doing it. I never felt like giving up. And in retrospect, how I was manifesting was actually what I'm talking about now. I just didn't realize I was doing it. But like I said, I used to logically think that it was the negative thoughts that were standing in my way, that were delaying things, that were prohibiting the manifestations from coming. But through further practice and further understanding and further evolution, I realized all I had to do was heal those faulty belief systems within me, the faulty self-concept, and by default, the good stuff would just naturally take its place, because that's who I am. That's why you need not even name your specific desires. Like, you can pick the person you want, the amount of money you want to earn per year, the exact house you want, but it's not necessary. You can, by default, manifest the exact thing you want without even picturing it once, because you are love and light. You are abundance. Having awareness, and like I said about writing things down, taking a notepad, carrying it with you, one of those tiny little handheld notepads, put a little pen in your pocket. And every time you feel this gravitational pull to think about something, or to remember a memory, or to have a feeling or an assumption, write it down. Most likely, these things are not going to be very good. And I want you to still write them down, because I want you to acknowledge what is going on inside of you so that you can then heal it. If you try to suppress it and say, well, those feelings that I'm having are bad, those negative thoughts I'm having are bad, I need to banish them, I need to erase them, I need to cover them up, I need to say more positive affirmations to make those bad thoughts go away, then those negative belief systems within you, they're not going to heal. And that's where we come back to you feeling like you want to give up, because you've just been covering them up. You haven't actually been healing them because you've been too afraid to honestly look at them. There is nothing scary about those things. They are just habits that you picked up over the years, probably from an adult in your life, that didn't mean to do this to you. It was just their negative belief systems that they picked up from the adults in their life. It's like this huge cycle that keeps going until someone gains awareness and stops the cycle. But you just picked these things up. And it's just about healing it. You recognize it and you go like, wow, I have been thinking this way for as long as I can remember. When I did this, I was like, wow, this is a belief, an assumption that I've been making for years. One of them was that I would look at married couples, people that were in love, and I would feel this immediate exclusion. Like, that's not who I am. They have this special something that I don't have. They have this secret within them, like they were born lucky. They were born into, some destiny where they get to be loved. They have something more sexy about them or alluring or captivating. They're the ones that get to have someone be totally in love with them. And that's just not me. Like, I would feel almost like a wall standing between me and the idea of what they had. I had been thinking that for years. I haven't thought that way in a really long time. But it didn't heal until I noticed. I noticed what I was saying, what I was affirming. You're so much about affirming these positive things. Can we just notice what we're affirming that's not so good? Like, notice it, acknowledge it. Be like, wow, I don't really have a need for this. It doesn't really serve me. And I'm just going to feel love in place of that sort of horrible idea that I was affirming. You don't have to affirm something positive in place of it. It just doesn't work the same way as healing the part that's broken and then letting that divine love take over that's already you. I used to hold the belief that people with money either inherited it, had jobs that I would never have. I would see successful people with a lot of money, and if it was a man, I would assume he had this high-paying job, high-powered job of something that I would never be qualified for, that I would never experience, that he had it so easy and he could just spend things without thinking about anything. He could just go out to dinner and pay for his whole family and spend $500 and not even think about it because he had this great job where he was earning so much money that he just didn't know what to do with it. And that just wasn't me because I was a woman. And if I saw a woman with a lot of money, I would assume that she inherited it, was born into it, had a rich father, a rich husband. You get the idea. Again, I was excluded from this experience in my mind. You can never heal these broken parts of you without first realizing they are there. Get out that notepad, start writing things down. Don't be afraid of writing these things down. I promise you, the second you write it down, it will feel like a release. It will feel like you finally acknowledged something that you've been trying to suppress all of this time. It will feel so freeing, so wonderful. And in this instance, it'll never feel like you want to give up. You see the difference? I've found that people who get the inclination to give up are people that have been doing things that they would logically think would bring about manifestation, that even other people have told them. Other people who, again, mean well and get on these platforms and have lots of subscribers, lots of views, and tell them this is how it's going to happen. So they put their full faith in that. And then they try it out and it's like, wow, when do I give up? Like, is this really going to work? Why am I feeling this way? If you're feeling this way, please examine your manifestation process. It may not even be the one that I was describing, but if you feel like you want to give up, it means that whatever route you're taking is not the route to your desire. The route to your desire feels so natural, feels so healing, so cleansing, that you would never want to give up. Have you signed up for my 10-day Manifesting Miracles course? Link is below. It's completely free. My gift to you. Subscribe for instant manifestation. Have an amazing day.